Hello, welcome to Brian 360 and welcome to a very different video from what I normally put on my channel. Realize my channel is an eclectic mess of topics such as birds, beaches, or Batman, so here is one more to add to the list. I hope you watch this video and share this with family and friends as it is a very important topic. I was inspired to do this video by a friend of mine at work. Recently, her parents became the victims of what's called the Apple security scam. Understandably, she was furious that someone would take advantage of her parents that way, and she wanted to get the word out to as many people as possible so she could help prevent anyone else from being scammed. She sent an email to everyone at work and had conversations with several of us as well. I suggested to her that I could reach out to my slightly less than 800 subscribers and hopefully spread the word that way also. She agreed to allow me to share her parents' story, and hence this video was born. In this video, I will detail what happened to her parents. I'll discuss some of the psychological elements of why scams work, ways that you can possibly spot a scam, and ultimately, I hope, ways that can prevent you or a loved one from becoming a victim. Now, I am not a psychologist, nor do I play one on TV. I took a few psychology courses in university, and in my spare time, I like to read books about science, history, psychology, and sociology. Authors like Malcolm Gladwell, Jared Diamond, Steven Pinker, and Yuval Noah Harari are among my favorites. A lot of the psychology part of this video will be taken from those sources, as well as other reading I have done. So what is the Apple security scam? My friend's mother was on her iPad, and she got a very loud warning that would not turn off, as well as direction on her screen to not turn off her iPad. This is a very important part of the scam as it sets the tone that the scammer wants. The alarm and the warning create a sense of urgency, and when we are under pressure to think in an emergency, our powers of reason might not be what they normally are. On the screen, a message apparently from the Apple Security Center appears, telling a person that there is a problem with their device and that they need to contact Apple at the phone number provided. These are not necessarily the same ones, but were a couple of examples I found online. This is similar to an old advertising trick that my first-year psychology professor told us about. Think of how many commercials you've seen on TV trying to sell a product in which they show you a problem and then show you the solution. When I was a kid, there was a commercial for a detergent called Whisk. And this gentleman had ring around the collar. So the collar of his dress shirt was not nice and white as it should have been. His wife was mortified, to say the least, that her husband's shirt had a ring around the collar. So here's the problem. And if you use Whisk detergent, that is the solution. This is not unlike what the scammer does. That alert is the problem. If you call that number to hopefully speak with the Apple security people, that is the solution. So they lie to you about the problem, they give you the solution, and you take the first step. You don't know it, but they have thrown you in the water, and now they are offering to help pull you out. This is a very effective psychology ploy. As well, by taking an active role by calling that number, you are taking the first step down a path that you don't want to go down, but you don't know it at that point. And by taking that first step, you're more likely to take more additional steps. And with each additional step, you get to the point of no return, where you are fully convinced in the scam, and the only way out is to follow the directions of the scammer. At this point, the scammer from the fake Apple Security Center told my friend's parents that there were 10 IP addresses attached to their bank accounts, and there was an unauthorized transaction for $10,000. He told them that they needed to contact their bank immediately, and he got them to tell him which banking institution they were with. They were then called by someone claiming to be from their bank, who gave them his employee number, department, and direct line. He then told them what I think is the most crucial part of this scam. He said that the hackers who had accessed the $10,000 were monitoring their phone, tablet, computer, bank account, credit cards. They had access to everything. And if they noticed any strange activity, any anomalies, the hackers would know this, and the $10,000 would be gone forever. The only way to ensure the recovery of the $10,000 would be to put their total faith in the fake bank employee. Do not tell your family, do not tell your friends, do not contact the bank yourself, do not contact your credit card company, do not tell a soul. By doing this, they had isolated my friend's parents from seeking anyone else's opinion, someone who was outside of the situation who could have recognized it for what it was because they had not been subjected to what they had at this point. So, given that there were two people involved in this situation already, why weren't they able to sort it out between themselves? I wonder if it's a situation where they both received the same information at the same time, so they both fell for it and reinforced each other's beliefs. He convinced them that in order to rectify this problem, they would have to buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin or gift cards and then give that information to the bank. The Bitcoin purchase did not work out, so they went to their bank and withdrew $3,000 in cash, which was their daily limit. Interestingly, when they took that money out, there was an information slip provided by the teller informing them about scams. They then took that cash to the grocery store and purchased 6 $500 Apple gift cards. When they brought the gift cards to the register, the individual asked them if they were under duress or if there was something wrong that was causing them to buy the gift cards. They said nope, there was no problem, and the purchase went through. They then contacted the fake bank employee and read off the serial numbers from the gift cards. And at that point, their $3,000 was gone. From the time they received the initial alert on the tablet until the time they read off the serial numbers on the gift cards, 7 hours had passed. In the description below, I'll put a link to an article written by a woman who herself was scammed for $50,000. And she suggests that her day, which lasted 5 hours, was similar to what someone undergoing a police interrogation would experience. There have been instances where innocent people have confessed to crimes they did not commit after a lengthy police interrogation. And the reason they mention is they just wanted it to be over. So even though my friend's parents felt that something wasn't quite right with this situation, they wanted it to be over. And the woman in the article mentions the same thing. After handing a box containing $50,000 in cash to somebody who drove up to her house, she felt like she had solved the problem. It was over. Shortly after my friend's parents gave the scammer the gift card numbers, they still felt that something wasn't right, and they eventually reached out to my friend and her husband. They immediately called Apple, and they called the grocery store from which they bought the gift cards. They returned the next day when the manager was available at the grocery store, and they got the same message that they got from Apple. There was nothing that could be done. The money was gone. Thankfully, from a financial point of view, my friend's parents will be fine. $3,000 is not a small amount of money, but it was not their life savings. On a personal side, however, this has rocked their world. My friend's mother said that for the first time in her life, she felt old. They are sad, they are angry, they are embarrassed, and they are fearful going forward. It's ironic that they had to fill out the police report online, and they were very hesitant to do so because their level of trust in anything related to electronics has now been permanently shaken. One of the most disturbing things about scams like this one and others is that they usually seem to prey on the elderly. As people age, their ability to think clearly might not be what it used to be. And faced with the elements of the scam, it can be a very mentally taxing experience, and the victims simply do not have the mental bandwidth to realize what they are doing. As well, they might not have a larger circle of friends that can help them in a situation like this. However, my friend described her parents as active and sharp, with family members as well, not someone who should be easy prey to scammers. This just goes to show that we can all become victims. I wonder as well if the baby boomer generation is more susceptible to a scam involving authority figures, such as a security officer or someone from the bank, coming from a time when people had more respect for positions of authority. The people who perpetrate these scams are following tried and tested scripts that exploit many aspects of human psychology. I hate to call these people professionals, but that is what they are, professional scammers. Given that they are much better at performing these scams than the average person is at detecting and preventing becoming a victim, how can we possibly guard against them? One of the simplest ways of detecting a scam is in a spelling mistake or a grammatical mistake in the text of a message that you receive. Looking at this image that I showed at the beginning of the video, there apparently is an applesecurity alert. Many of these scam centers are overseas and English is not their first language. When you are speaking with someone with a very thick accent and they claim that their name happens to be Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, or Morgan Riley, there could be a problem. My grandfather was from Sweden, and Swedes have impeccable English skills. But if the caller says he's calling from Jersey City in the state of New Jersey, that might be a problem. If the name doesn't fit the accent, be on your guard. Those individuals I mentioned, by the way, are the starting lineup of the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey team. If you receive an electronic communication such as an email or a text from a sender you don't know, and there is a link embedded in that message, absolutely do not click on that link. That is a gateway for the scammer to get inside your device, and all sorts of bad things can happen. As well, even if you do know the sender, sometimes people can hack accounts, and they send you the link that you think is from a friend to look at a cute puppy, and next thing you know, your device has been compromised. Never, ever, ever give personal information to someone on the phone who has called you, or if you have called them as a result of getting something like the Apple security alert. A bank or credit card company is going to have your information already. They will not have to ask you for it. If something seems fishy with your bank account, the best option would be to go there in person and speak with someone. If that's not an option, then perhaps find the phone number online from a reputable website and then you make the call to that number. One of the biggest tells for a scam is when the person you are speaking with wants to isolate you. So they tell you not to tell your family or friends, and I mentioned that earlier as part of the Apple security scam. No financial institution is going to give you that order, and they should be open to you discussing with your family and friends if there actually is a problem with your account. Furthermore, if the proposed solution to this problem with your account is forwarding money to the person you're speaking with, either an electronic transfer of funds or a box of cash like in that article I mentioned, or purchasing gift cards, it makes no sense that they would ask you to send your money to them to fix the problem. Although if you are wrapped up in the details of the scam, that might seem like the only option, and you'll go ahead and do it. And that is exactly what they are hoping for, and that is exactly the scam. In addition to the Apple security scam, unfortunately, there is a long list of scams that have been used for years, and new scams are constantly being developed. With recent advances in artificial intelligence, there are new scams on the horizon that exploit both audio and visual aspects. For example, if you saw this basket of cute golden retriever puppies on Facebook Marketplace, for instance, and they were only being sold for $100, wouldn't you want to buy one? If you reached out to the seller and he told you that he wanted his $100 in advance and then you could come pick up the puppy, well, maybe you just lost $100 because these puppies do not exist. I created this image of puppies using an artificial intelligence program called Midjourney. Midjourney is so good that it allows you to create photorealistic images within a minute of getting the program. It is astounding. It is so good that I used it for this entire video. Not one person that you have seen in this video exists. These are all artificially created images through Midjourney. At the very beginning of this video, I mentioned that I have videos on birds, beaches, and Batman. So I put those terms into Midjourney, and this is what I got. I can't think of a happier picture to end a video on such a depressing topic. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please share it with friends and family. Talk to your relatives, especially if you have older parents. There are plenty of ways to educate yourself about scams. There are lots of videos on YouTube to watch, lots of articles to read online. Again, thank you so much for watching, and take care.